Evening everybody. Welcome to what should be coffee and card at 12:30, but it's 8:30. I thought I'd do something a little bit different today. I've been working on showing my face a little bit more, so you get to see my lovely sweaty face this evening. How lucky are you guys? So yeah, this is a big brave step for me, so please be kind. Very hot here today. It's been about 32. It's still about 27 and it's very, very warm, but look at my colour. I know I'm a bit brown, Hilary. Just waiting for people to hop on. It's actually quite nice to see your comments. So yeah, I've been away for about 4 days. We've been down to Mum and Dad's caravan, not very far from here, about half an hour, and it's been really, really lovely to just ignore the housework and look up my craft room for a few days and kind of reset, because it has been a really busy 5 months. So tonight I've got a card for you that I'm going to share with you. I'm going to try and pause this if I can, so this is all new to me, and flip you around to my desk, so bear with me a moment and I'll show you what I've got for you. Okay. I can flip my screen. Can I flip my screen? I can, look at that. Check me out, girls. Okay, so this is all quite new to me, but yeah, we'll give it a go, shall we? So you've seen my face. I've taken the big leap of not just showing my desk, so maybe you'll see a bit more of me. Okay, so tonight I have a card for you, and it's a stamp set that I've seen other people use, but didn't really see the stamp set, to be honest. So if you've got a catalogue, it's on page 8, and it's the stamp set that goes with this gorgeous posies card kit. Ah, thank you, Colette. So it's gorgeous posies down here. So you can purchase the card kit on its own, and you can purchase the stamp set separately. So I've purchased both of them, but tonight I'm just going to be using the stamp set, which I have here. So it's a lovely distinctive stamp set, and you've got some lovely sentiments. You've got wishing you comfort and peace at this time, quite apt for what we're going through right now, for a very kind and thoughtful friend, celebrating your day, and get well soon. And then the images are really, really lovely. They're nice distinctive images, and then you can layer them up. In the catalogue they've used the card kit with some beautiful purples, and there's some lovely gold embossing as well, so I'm sure you'll see that from me very, very shortly. But the card I'm making this evening is a little bit different from those colours, so this is what we're going to be making. So I have used some colours from this week's global design project. I've used a bumblebee, which is from our 2020 and 2022 in colours. We've got Calypso Coral, which is one of our subtles collection, and we have Granny Apple Green from our Bright. So 3 very, very different colours. 3 colours that I probably wouldn't choose at all, but I've made something. So here we have it. This is the finished card that we're going to make together, and this is a really lovely technique that I don't use very often, but I'm always quite pleased with it. It's stamping and embossing, so it makes your stamping look like it's got some really lovely texture. And then of course we've got some fussy cutting and some signature heat embossing. So let's get making, shall we? I'm just going to put some bits up out the way. Sharon, what have you said? You've said nearly missed you. Oh, I'm glad you didn't miss me. I hope you're very well and you're not struggling too much in this heat. So I have here, I have a card base, and I've gone for a tent fold card base. So this is half a piece of A4 scored and then folded in half, so we get that look. So that's better. And I have a piece of Whisper White again that is 10 centimetres by 14.4. So that's exactly half a centimetre smaller than the front of my card. I have another piece for inside. Whisper White, this isn't the thick Whisper White, this is the normal Whisper White, so it is actually quite flimsy. So you want to make sure it's got a bit of strength. So these 2 pieces are exactly the same. And then I have a piece that is 10 centimetres by 10 centimetres square. And this is the piece that we're going to create this lovely diagonal background here. So let's get cracking. So first things first, we're going to do our stamping. So I've just popped my stamps onto acrylic blocks. So this is the main flower head stamp, should I say? And I'm using my stamp scrub for this. It's got my name on it, you can see that. And this is how we clean our stamps. So I've always been told don't use baby wipes. Water obviously isn't strong enough and it doesn't condition your stamp. So I'm using some Stampin' Mist. All this is, you have a wet side and a dry side. These buffers are removable, so you can rinse them through and dry them to clean them. And I'm just going to give this a bit of a spray to make that nice and damp. This is the old bottle. The new bottle is somewhat bigger and it smells lovely as well. So that will condition your stamps as well as clean them. It's a really handy tool. I've had mine for almost 7 years and I wouldn't be without it. So Bumblebee, we're going to open that up first. We're going to put Granny Apple Green to one side because we don't need that just yet. And I want some Calypso Coral. Hi Michelle. Okay, so just make sure our stamp is clean, and it is. So this is just the Stampin' Up grid paper. It's great for laying on your desk, and it's got the measurements all around it in centimetres and inches, so that it's a really useful tool. So we're going to go in with some stamping. So put this down. There is a fly buzzing around my head and he's very irritating. Okay. So we've got just a few little stamps there, and we'll quickly clean this off. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a little bit of a scrub on the wet side and then dry it off with the dry side. So that means that stamp is nice and clean. There's no real marks, so just stamp on my grid paper to make sure it's definitely clean, and then we can go in with our Bumblebee. Okay, so I must admit this stamp set is not one that I originally saw, but after seeing a few demonstrators use it, I have added it to my collection, shall we say. Okay. So it's a bit of random stamping. There's no pattern to it, it's all done by eye. This is a great way of making your own backgrounds as well with any stamp set. And then we have these little dots here. So this comes from this set as well, and I'm stamping these in Memento. So Tuxedo Black Memento. This is the black ink pad that's Stampin' Up sell, and it's a real true black as well. So I'm just adding these dots to my centres. And I actually think it makes them really pop. Okay, so we've got that like so. So let me know what you think of that. In the card kit, these have been heat embossed with gold, and it's just stunning. It's really, really lovely. Okay, now we need our scrap of our 10cm by 10cm square. What we're going to do is we're going to cut this diagonally in half. So I'm lining this up from diagonal corner to diagonal corner in my where my blade will run through, and we're just going to snip. So we have it that looks like that. So this is our piece for down here, okay, like so. But before we do that, we're going to emboss it with our lovely embossing folder. So this is the dog's barking to come in. 2 seconds. Come on then, in your bed. This is the embossing folder that goes. Okay, he's now squeaking because his toy is in here. I'm going to pop him out. Come on, Dave. Out we go. Out. Come on. Go get it. Okay, the dog is now back outside. So this embossing folder is the Tasteful Textile embossing folder. It goes with the Tasteful Touches, I think it's called, Sweet, and it's really lovely. So we're just going to pop our piece of card in like so. I'm going to lay it in so that it's nice and straight. So it's in there like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use our big shot. So I will bring this in. Just lift this up a bit. So I've got my embossing mat there, and then we always put this through so it's the creased side first. Pop your cutting mat on top, and then just wheel through. Okay. So this is an old non-Stampin' Up machine. We do have a new one available. Mine is still on its way, so as soon as I have that I will show that to you. So then now when we take this off, you'll see that that's now got some lovely texture. So it actually looks like material, I think. What do we think? Let me know your thoughts. I always like to know what people think of what I'm doing. Just bring the camera back in. So now we can bring in our card base. And this is going to be popped on there like so. And before you stick it down, this is a good opportunity to just lay it on and to see actually if that's the right way. You want to make sure you've got a good number of flowers up here, but if we turn it round, is it better? So always make sure I have a little play around before I stick things down. So it looks like there's bits missing here. So we're going to turn it back round. And we can now stick these two down. Okay, like so. So I'm just going to use some Tombow for this. I won't lie, I still haven't made friends with the stamping seal. I'm hoping the friendship isn't gone. But yeah, haven't got on with it yet. If anyone has any tips, please send that to me. So then this, we're going to pop that on, but before we do that, I'm going to bring in some of my Granny Apple Green. And I'm going to use a Granny Apple Green Stamping Right Marker. So the stamping blends don't actually come in this colour, but you can always fall back on these. These are available in colour sets. So I'm just going to add some ink splashing. So I'm just going to pop the nib of the pen into the lid and just push against to get that little bit of ink speckling, like so. So that's just bringing in that third colour, and we can now stick this down. So the reason I cut it 10 centimetres square is so that this bottom measurement is 10 centimetres, so it lines up really nicely. Okay, so there is the start of our card. Now I'm just going to get some scrap white. Always keep a nice little selection of scraps on my desk so you can tell what I've been die cutting there, and we're going to stamp two little flowers. So we want one in Calypso Polish. Check this is clean. I did clean it. Like so. And then we want one in Bumblebee. And Colette, you put something else I need. Sorry about that. Okay. So we have our two flower outlines, and we'll add in our centres. We like my embossing after the stamping, so I don't think it would work with every embossing folder, but one like this, it works really well because I think it just makes it look a bit more like material. Really nice texture. So yeah, give it a go. See what you think. Just add our little dots in here. And then we can cut these out. So here comes my little bit of fussy cutting. We'll just trim these round. Actually missed a bit of fussy cutting. I was tempted to take some crafting with me to the caravan, but I decided, one, we wouldn't have much room, and two, it was quite nice to have a little bit of a break. And I came home to a lovely size box of goodies, Most of it was for customers, but a few things were for me. So if you shopped with me last month, then your hostess gifts are in the barn, ready to be sent out. So I just need to package those up, and they'll be going out this week. And here we have this one. I must admit, Calypso Coral is quite an underused colour for me. But I always quite like it when I use it. Okay. Just following the edge of the flower around. Moving a little white border. There we go. So we have our two little flowers. I must admit, I think I prefer the Calypso Coral version. What about you? Got a bit, one of these. Is my bit of cardstock big enough? It isn't. So Danny, you've put gorgeous colour combination. This is, I wish I could claim that I came up with these three colours together, but I didn't. These colours are for this week's colour challenge over at the Global Design Project. So I thought I'd give it an enter. And it is quite a nice way, these challenges, to kind of push you out of your comfort zone, try something different. So these are not colours that I would ever use. But yeah, I'm quite pleased with how it looks. Okay. Just fussy cutting. Yeah, Anne, you came in at a good point. So I'm just fussy cutting some leaves ready for our little flowers. So this, for those of you that have just joined, this is a stamp set that coordinates with one of the kits that Stampin' Up is in the new Stampin' Up annual catalogue. And I must admit, I'd passed it by, but lots of nice sentiments. The colours in the catalogue it uses are mixtures of purples and pinks, so I've gone a bit of a different direction. So now we have our little flowers, and I'm just going to curve these slightly. To do that, just kind of move them around with your fingers, and it just lifts them ever so slightly. Sharon, you're loving these stamps, lovely. Glad you like them. And then we can layer these on. So I'm actually adding some Tombow onto these, just onto the centres, like so, and I'm attaching them to this white diagonal piece here. Okay. Like so. And then the two leaves, oh, Mr. Fly is buzzing around my head. The two leaves I'm going to just tuck under, one there, and one there. Okay, so now I can add in my sentiment. So this is the sentiment we've got here: for a very kind and thoughtful friend. So I have here just a scrap piece of basic black. I'm going to do some heat embossing, so I'm just moving things away. So I have here some white Stampin' emboss powder. They come in small tubs, the embossing powders. Here's one that I haven't opened yet. So this is how the embossing powder comes, a really little tub. But I find I get into a real mess, so I've just decanted it into a Tupperware container. This just from £1.9, I think you can get about 10 of them for about £1, so they come in really handy. I'm just going to use my embossing buddy. What this does is this just takes the static off of your card before you emboss. We no longer sell these, but you can use a tumble dryer sheet. It will just remove the static so that your embossing powder only sticks to your Versamark. So Versamark is a sticky stamp pad. So we're going to stamp that like so, and you can't really see it. I'll show you that you can't really see it. You can just about see it if I turn it to the light. And then we're going to dip this in our pot. Like so, and you can see that that's picked up the powder. Nice and neat as well because of that embossing buddy. It has only stuck to the powder. And then we're going to use our heat tool. So this is a Stampin' Up heat tool. It's a bit like a hairdryer. It's not a hairdryer. And we're just going to heat this. So you should see this. It will turn. So when it's cured, it will go nice and shiny, and it will go brighter. So you should, there you go. It's just starting to happen. You have it. Okay. So that's now all set, like so. You see that? And then we're just going to trim this into a little banner. Love stamping, me too. I love embossing, especially this sort of style. I've just ordered some new gold embossing powder ready for the Christmas season. Okay, so there we have our little banner, and this is just going to go along the bottom like so. Okay. So you can either, so what I've done with this one is I've popped it over my flower, which I think I'm going to do on this one. And to attach this, I'm going to trim off a little bit of the edge of our dimensionals, like so. And then we can stick that down. Just like so. And then I've added a couple of little gems which were on my desk. I say they were on my desk. They're not on my desk, they're in my... I'll put them back. It's unlike me to put things away. So I'm using these. These are the 2020 to 22 in colour enamel dots. So they come in the 5 in colours. You've got Bumblebee, Cinnamon Cider, Misty Moonlight, Just Jade and Magenta Madness. I've now decided this one is my favourite. So for those of you that have been following me for a while, I've not been able to decide, but I finally decided Magenta Madness, you are my favourite. So I've just added 2 little gems, like so. And they're lovely. They're adhesive on the back, so you don't have to fuss about with glue and get yourself into a mess. So for those of you that were with me at the start, you'll remember I cut this lovely little piece in two. So you can either make another card, or what I've done is I've done some more stamping and added that into the centre. Okay, so I did have another piece of card here. See, this is really flimsy, so because it's a tent fold card, the back will spread out because it's not equally weighted. So that's why when you're doing tent fold cards, it's always best to add in that additional piece so that the weight is equal. Otherwise someone will receive your card and it will just flop about. And we want to make sure our cards stand up beautifully, don't we? So that's just added in there. And then for this one, we can just do a little bit more stamping. Oh, thank you guys. That's really lovely. Danny, you like Magenta Madness as well. Love a bit of Magenta Madness. It's great that we've got a really vibrant pink actually, although it has made me miss Lemon Lime Twist. For anyone that remembers Lemon Lime Twist of a few years back, it has definitely made me miss it. It was the brightest lime you ever did see. Oh, that's not cleaned very well. And then we'll just finish off with our little black centre dots. Okay. And then the final little bit, we can stick this in. And then again we just line this up with the piece that we've stuck in, because we know that the measurement is exactly the same. This bottom measurement is 10 centimetres. So there we have our finished card for you this evening using the Gorgeous Posies stamp set. So thank you to everyone who's tuned in and watched me. I hope you've enjoyed this evening's card. I will be back on Wednesday evening, and I will be showing you what the card kit is all about that goes with this. Which is in this lovely box. So Wednesday evening at 8:30 I will talk you through the card kit, and have a great... I hope you cool off a bit. Sorry, the fly is now doing my head in. I'm off to go inside to cool off in front of the fan, and all the details for these cards will be available on my blog in the morning. If you have any questions, let me know, and it's been great to see you all again. Thanks everyone, take care, bye.